it's a very, let's say, relevant topic for many of us. Because we see in this time that we live kind of in a tidal wave of technological advancement that seems in all kinds of ways to integrate more and more into our daily lives. A lot of our lives has turned into a digital landscape, and in some cases just like a minefield that every time tries to promise more convenience and more advancement and faster and better connectivity, while we find out that the result usually is a bigger challenge. And this especially for spiritual seekers that not just seek connectivity, but that seek a real connection, like a real connection, not just connectivity. So what we want to explore now this evening during our meeting is how we can stay anchored in that what is real and eternal, while we at the same time live in a very deceptive and very artificial world that in many ways seems to engulf our lives. So we can see this actually as a time in which we live with an enormous challenge with regard to that. But we want to say that it also gives us a very big opportunity. The deception has namely become so interwoven with our lives that it actually becomes easier for us to separate the real from the unreal, which is in a way like when we think about us being in a spiritual process or like an alchemical process, then this is a part of the process, which is to separate the real from the unreal. And as a society, and as and within our own paths, we are also brought to that realization. We start to see through this ever-changing web of deception that never really comes with a real answer, but that every time actually raises new questions. And then to the other side of that deception, so to the side of that deception, there exists also something that we can call the real. So not as an opinion or as some kind of idea, but the real as a power of life that always stands, that always is centered, that is always in peace, no matter the kind of deception that is thrown at it. The real is, in a sense, the background silence to all noise, because our life is full of noise, and there is a background silence to that too, which we can see as the real. So we have the power of the real in one corner and the illusions of the unreal in the other. And these are two very distinct sides that push and pull our souls. And now that we mentioned soul, there are many that struggle to understand what the soul really is. So we thought of explaining that very shortly. Our soul is not an organ. Our soul is neither our aura, even though our aura is the mirror of our soul. We could maybe say that our soul is our fullness. But for like with anything, to understand what it is for us important to know what it does. So yeah, what does the soul do? And what the soul does is that it absorbs, and it absorbs what we focus our attention on. Our soul becomes then full with that what we focus on, so with that what it absorbs. And very often it spills over with that what we focus on, so with the source of our attention. So our soul is filled to the rim with the thing that we focus on, with the thing that we are mentally and emotionally connected to. And this connection determines the quality of our soul. We can then, with this, like when we understand this, then we can also say that we can learn to know our soul by looking what flows through it, what it is that it spills over with, which is always a certain kind of consciousness. It's a certain state of consciousness, because we are always in a certain state of consciousness. So our soul is basically pulled there where we put the weight of our attention. And if we consider this, then we can conclude that many souls are often plugged into an endless flood of digital algorithms that continuously engage us and prompt us to react and also to consume. So to basically to absorb, to take up. Almost like cyborgs that are completely blinded from the real, so the real that we just spoke about. It is for every one of us very easy to get lost in a stream of clicks and scrolls while our soul is taken in currents that make us forget what it is that is really real. That we forget what the soul is really made of, what it really needs. And we do like to nuance this also a little bit because there's nothing wrong with putting a thumbs up for a puppy or for content against fascism or any war or homophobia or let's say any other intolerance, because all men are born equals and we are here also to look after each other. Sometimes we just need to engage because that also determines the algorithms that determine our future, that will be more and more algorithm based. So, but we can see it that the good sense of balance, the good sense of mind and of love has to be brought into the algorithm as well. How far away it might sound to some of us. And further, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being well informed. There's also nothing wrong with having a preference for something. There's nothing wrong with giving a thumbs up for more love and more kindness and more care, or on something that we just find funny or beautiful. But let's stay aware. Just let's stay aware of what we are doing and not get too carried away and too absorbed and too lost. Let's just keep our eyes open to what it is that sustains our attention, what we bring into the field of our vision. Because there are these different dangers. We can, for example, see that it can easily happen that social media becomes a basis for our validation and approval, while these mechanisms actually substitute for the constant living and affirming power of the real that is also there. We receive, namely, the affirmation of the universe that we are part of the whole. Every moment that we are really present with ourselves, or with somebody else, or with nature, or with an animal, or when we are absorbed in art or music or anything else that leaves a trails of that one unchanging dynamic element. When we are filled with the real, then we have no need for personal confirmation because we are part of the stream of life itself, because that what is real is part of the eternal stream of life itself. That is the unceasing holy current of life. And that is something that is not found in opinions and ideas, no matter how noble and how hard needed they are on this earthly plane. They are just not of the same matter. And this is what we really need to understand. The real is not of the same matter. And we have our responsibilities, but we have to realize that it is not, the real is not of the same matter. And that we can only see those responsibilities when we are not completely caught in it. The real is found beyond suffering. The real is found beyond them and us. The real is a unity of a real living power. The real is a stable, sacred ground that carries us everywhere to celebrate the divine in everyone and everything, everywhere. And the real we are talking about is the wholesome living and healing radiance of love that is intelligent and that is unifying. This radiance has the law of balance and the absolute order of God, which is love. The real is the divine harmony itself that restores everything so that the infinite can manifest. And when we think about advancement, when we consider advancement, then we can see that man only took something of the infinite and made it its own, no matter what it is. Man was meant to serve the infinite, but man started to serve himself. So now anything that is man-made, so any art or any science or anything, so is only a fragment of the divine real. What is man-made comes with man's limitations. So man is only capable to see the fragment of his own box. And we also have to admit that we see things in boxes too. We all do this. And that we also create a boxed society, while we in fact have to come free from all the separation. So we have to come free from all these boxes. Our real path is namely the unboxing of ourselves. And in that, there is our transformation. We have to let go of all the things that we have stuck some kind of label to until we witness not noise anymore, but the stillness that fills our soul. And when we never stop unboxing, we become one with this stillness of the real, and we start to discover one true interconnected life that is unchanging and that is boundless. Everyone is part of it, and everything is part of it. And in that, we are part of the real. And in this boundless ocean that we are also right now, we are together with heavenly powers that pulsate through us like a different living river of which we are part, instead of that stream of illusions that we keep on consuming, taking up. And it is in this stillness, in this silence, that the wisdom of all ages is found as a deep-seated pre-memory that crosses our soul to rise to its surface. If our heart recognizes this and our mind follows it, and when our lives are calibrated to this new wisdom, then our life will reveal more and more treasures as we calibrate ourselves through this process of unboxing. So, through this surrender, in which the separation becomes less and less. And to receive this wisdom, we need to come to a not doing. And that also very often means letting things be for what they are, and to live in the now, to live in the presence of the real. And when we experience this real together, so this real that we talk about right now, when we experience this together and react to it, then we create a spiritual earthquake. And this is then an earthquake that happens to a hardened society by bringing love, unity, and real peace. And this can only happen if there is one army of seekers of peace that are on their own inner path of love and truth, and to bring that to the world. Did you ever hear about soldiers marching over a bridge? Before soldiers march over a bridge, they have to break their step up. So before they start crossing a bridge, they have to walk like a normal crowd, like any crowd. If they would not do this, if they would not break their step, then the bridge would collapse under the pulse of their march, because every step is amplifying the same vibration with each next step, and it amplifies and amplifies until the whole structure of the bridge completely collapses. And this phenomenon, this thing of this rhythm, is scientifically called lockstep. When we ourselves step into this process of freeing ourselves, of unboxing ourselves, and start to follow love, honesty, harmony, truth, then we step in the same vibration as many others do. And when we do this, we are stronger than any physical army, because we walk in a lockstep that breaks old structures that don't serve us nor the world any longer. So by standing in this process, by becoming free from our own limitations, we do the same thing as many others do. And that is a light in this world. It's a power in this world. It's an impulse in this world. And there are ways to get to this deep inner knowledge that is universal and of all ages. The Rosicrucians of the past said that we will receive the gifts of God and receive enlightenment and freedom when we learn to read in the book of nature, and that is without, and the book of God, and that's the book that lies within. And to start with the book of nature, we can just say that in this time that there are many that would do very well by discovering the wonders of nature again, not on a screen, but directly to observe, to sense, to touch, to hug, to kiss, to, to touch nature basically like no one is watching, and to get to know it through love. Many have forgotten that nature is the mother that provides to us. She gives us food. She provides us selflessly with means to make shelter, and she allows cultivation. Nature has an enormous power of showing us the real. Learning to know nature through our deep love for it teaches us the harmonizing laws of the Holy Spirit that come to expression everywhere where the real manifests. And next to the book of nature, we find the book of God. And this is the wisdom of the laws of love that we find in the silence within ourselves. And we, as modern Rosicrucians, we host activities in real life and online that all in some kind of way are dedicated to this inner silence, to cultivate this inner silence. And also this meeting is also dedicated to cultivate this inner silence. It is in the space that we try to cultivate because it is in the sacred space that our souls are touched and that we are enabled to see more clearly. It is then from this inner space that our inner horizons expand from a limited and boxed view to seeing the infinite without any boxes in everything. And in this unboxed view, we see a parallel world of thousand distractions, but we are not part of it because we are part of the real. And these moments of unboxed view can help us to see where our own limited boxes are. Because now maybe we feel it, but maybe tomorrow we struggle with it. But that means that we are learning. The real is not part of this world of running and standing still. That is a thing we can learn. We can see that. As soon as we start running, it disappears again. It is not part of that temporary flying and crashing. But there's something that happens when we flew and crashed enough. Because what happens then is that we start longing and begin to see a glimpse of the real with our own inner eye. And this is a sign of our soul awakening. Then our soul becomes filled with a new direction that is towards the divine. And that happens in lockstep with many other souls. A lockstep of true transformation. And a lot of this transformation has to do with self-reflection. We have to look at our limitations, see what it is that limits us, how we can overcome that. So we have to self-reflect, we have to self-observe. And through that self-reflection and observation, we come to a new attitude to life. While also in our time, we can also say that it is quite wholesome to create a routine in which we learn to sit still and to do nothing for a little moment. To maybe routinely put away our devices and our alerts, and just to be aware of all the alerts that go on inside of us, and to approach the stillness within. And when we do that, when you get past the alerts with like that are blocking us, the things that go off, the thoughts that come up, when we come past that and we come to stillness, then we can see that the stillness has its own alerts, that the stillness tells us what the next step is to take, which is the right step. We learn then to walk with silence. Or we learn to maybe just to take a moment to be alert of the divine beauty that is around us, that's just happening, and the beauty of the divine that it lies also inside of us. When we can find stillness, then we discover like an inner temple. We start to discover a silent space that reveals the divine structure of the liberated soul. And we find this by following that silence that comes with the glory of love. There's a glory hidden in all things, and if we witness that glory, then our soul is automatically a part of its fullness. It sees it, it absorbs it, and it flows over with it. And when we choose to follow this glory as our path, then our soul creates together with millions of other souls a tidal wave of renewal and liberation in this world. So, what we put our attention to, what we fill our souls with, should be of our highest concern. And then it is so that the danger absolutely does not lay in technology. The danger lies in ourselves. It lies in our objectives. It lies in our sympathies and antipathies. It lies in what we take as the most important thing in our lives. So it is really not what we are connected to, neither what our opinion is, but it is fundamentally about who we are, then as soul-born human beings, because that determines what we do. The same technology that so easily distracts us can also help us to illuminate our souls. Because when we go online, then we can also use different methods to find sacred gems of scriptures. We can find the most amazing art and literature that all resonates with that true state of soul. And we can find with a few clicks sources of wisdom that call back our soul to the real. We can find these little snippets. We can find nice quotes that touch us and that make us put us in that perspective of the real, even if it's for a little moment, for a second, because this creates the consciousness of the real, the understanding of the real, that the real is a presence that's timeless and always there. And any tool that we as humanity receive from the divine creator is an actual divine gift that more often is abused than used. But the tool itself is neither good nor evil. It is always the person who wields the tool that creates the outcome. So a hammer can build a house, but it can also break the window of that same house. A fire can warm that house, but the same fire can also consume this house. So how we use technology or how we are used by it. Technology in itself is namely a neutral force, and then that is a force that we direct. Do we express from the unity of living love and do we bring harmony? Or do we seek to divide and to create chaos? Do we deepen our presence in a moment that is right here and right now? Or do we gorge ourselves on all sorts of illusions that are brought to us on some kind of digital silver platters? When we are in our connection to the real, then we are like children. And maybe even with a pebble or with a shell in our hand, like a sacred treasure. Or we watch birds flying through a sunset, or we sit simple in a temple together with others that seek the same. When we are in such a simple state of being, of not needing anything, of not wanting anything, but just to be there where we are and in full connection with others and with the moment, then we are in the presence of love. It looks so simple that it looks meaningless, but it is not. This presence of love is by itself, and we may find it during a walk in the snow. We may find it in a city buzzing with life and with wonderful people. We may find it in a heart-to-heart conversation. We can find it in the smile of someone we know or a stranger. And we can find it in a moment that says in a way, hey, I see you, I understand you. And we can find it wherever we see real beauty. And this beauty is love. Love is a presence. Love is a state. In the presence of love, our soul receives love and also speaks love. It cannot do anything else because it is not caught up by anything else but love. We as Rosicrucians find the presence of this love in our temples and in our teachings. And for us, it is a multidimensional chain that connects this world to the divine, eternal world of the real. Our teaching is that we all are on our way from this world to the other, that we find it by following the sacred stream that lies within us, and that this stream always overflows with wisdom. What our teaching basically says is to peel away our attention from what is unreal, to take it away, to put it to the side as much as we can at all times, and to put our attention on the living real that is out of love. And the result is then being aware of the divine as a bliss that is present when we are free and unburdened like children. No worries, life in the moment, not caring about a thing, while we at the same time deeply care for each other. In these moments, the real touches our soul so fully that it overflows with harmony. These are those moments we seek to breathe and to fly with our soul. These are the moments in which our soul soars free together with other souls in an open space of overarching unity. And this we can know together as one great reality, as a sacred reality that our souls know together because it is grounded in the harmonizing laws of love that govern everyone. The unreal, the illusion, the deception is everywhere. It is online and in person. What it does is it always polarizes, it always separates. Powers devoted to deception create chaos and separation instead of unity. These powers will also be used, for these powers, technology will be used to deceive people. So it's good to be aware. But they will never succeed in stopping the march of souls to freedom, no matter the oppression. Because when our soul has come to the ultimate crisis of life, it has to catch a breath. And that air that is sought, that is only found in the real. We will find it when we believe we are drowning. And by this breath of life, our soul that fills itself with whatever it's connected to becomes inspired by life. Our soul becomes spirited. And our soul becomes spirited in moments when we are caretakers of nature, for example. Our souls become spirited when we do something out of care and sympathy of our heart. Our souls become spirited when we give freely what we have received. Our soul becomes spirited when we let that what keeps it from being spirited be. Our souls become spirited when we become truly human, bright and full of love, to the oppressor and the oppressed, offering peace and safety for any soul that also seeks the unity of the real. Thank you so much.